Hi and welcome to the last part of the air dry clay bouquet. Now over the past few weeks you've probably got all your flowers ready and you'll have perfected how to do them and got them wired up. So this is the last instalment, and then in future I'm just going to show you how to do different flowers with the same cutters. So I've got on my table a lot of my flowers that I'm going to be putting in and my foliage, and I'm going to show you how to wire it together. As you can see here, I've got my ivy. This is the variegated one. I've got all my rose leaves all wired up. I've got my freesias. I've got my roses, and I've got my lily and some little gypsophilia. So these are all wired up ready, and all I'm going to do now is put it all together. So here I've got some of the little filler flowers, and I've got my long stem of variegated ivy. Basically the bouquet goes in two parts, and I'm going to do the tail part first. I've got my little vase here, so you need this handy so that you know how long to do it. So I've got the ivy leaf there, and if you look at that, when that's bent down, that's going to be roughly the right length for my bouquet tail. So I've got some strips of tape. If you've seen the other videos, you will notice that I've cut down the centre because we only need a half width. Do that very carefully with a blade, but please be very careful, it's going to be very sharp. So here we've got the ivy, and we're going to take a strip of the filler flowers, and we're going to lay that on top there. You can bend them all afterwards to put them in the positions you want, so don't worry about titivating it up. I've got the wire on the tape on there, sorry. The tape sticks to itself. You will end up with your fingers becoming rather sticky over the wiring, but that's part of it, unfortunately. So all I'm doing is basically twisting and pulling with my finger, and that will tape those together. You can do it, break it off if you want it a little bit stronger, put it back on, and then do it again. So just twist it. They are quite forgiving, so don't worry too much about being too gentle with them. So that is the tail part. Now we're going to put different parts on here to wire it all up. So I want a bit more ivy, and I have got some small bits here. Just bend on there and add it to it. Tear off your tape, wrap that round just to get rid of it. Like I said, don't worry about putting them all in position yet. Take your tape again, and at the join there, just add it to it. It will stick to it, so don't panic, and twist. You may find that you need a pair of tweezers just to help you along. Just wrap it round a couple of times, and then it will twist. If you find that your stems are getting a little bit too thick, you can cut some of your wire off and then just add other pieces in. So you can see now we've got a piece coming in from that side, so we're going to put a piece on the other side. I've got two different types of ivy. It's the same cutter, I've just coloured it differently. As you know from the other parts, I've coloured it with the pan pastels. Forgive me if I'm going off the middle of the screen, but we are amateurs at this, and we are trying our hardest to make it look a little bit easier for you to follow. So I've got another piece here, and I'm going to bend that there and add that to the other side. So you can see it now filling out a little bit. You do have a lot more foliage to flowers, so again just twist that on and keep having a look and messing with it until you're happy with it, because like I say, you can bend them all. So now we're going to add some of the freesia. Those come like this, as I showed you before. So start putting these at angles. I'm going to put it that way. Bend that down, and we're going to add that on top of the ivy there. So you can now see that it is looking more like a bouquet than just a sprig. We're going to add another one at the other side. So we're going to bend that the opposite way, and that will go to that side. Just keep adding your tape on and twisting it. I've also done some little twirly bits, and this is basically done with the wire wrapped around a pencil or a paintbrush. I've used glossy accents, and on there I've then put the halo glitter. The halo glitter gives it a lovely sparkle. So we're going to add some little bits of this in, just to add a hint of bling in there. We're only adding one main focal flower to this at the top, so most of it is filler flowers and foliage. We're going to add a little bit of gypsophilia here, so this one I'm going to bend upwards and add that into the centre. The beauty of it is every one is going to be different. So now we're going to add a rose, I think, and we're going to add this lovely deep pink one. That's going to add a little bit of contrast to it. So that's going to go there. So we bend the wire and add that in. Try and keep it so that they're all of a similar height. Wrapping that round. And then at the side of that, we're going to add some little flowers here, and then we're going to do the top part. So we're going to add in some more freesia. Again, we're going to bend that at the angle there. You might be able to see it a little bit easier if I do it this way around. Like I say, Mark is not a cameraman, but he's trying his best, and I'm trying my best to make it so you can see. There we go. So we've added the freesia to that side. We're going to add another bit of freesia to the other side. They don't have to be identical on each side, but it does help to balance it out if you try and add something to each side. So we're just going to add that on there and wrap this around. When we've got it looking nice and full, you actually bend the wire down and then do the top part, and then you tape them together. So just make sure that you make it nice and strong at the joint here. And then I'm going to add a bit more foliage. So I'm going to add some of the rose leaves now. So I've got a nice piece here. That's going to go just underneath where we put the freesias. So a piece there, and then a nice piece at the other side. So I hope you've all made enough foliage to go on this. So that's going to go underneath at the other side there. It is a little bit fiddly, but it's a bit harder for me because I'm trying to show you how we've done it, so you can actually see how we put it together. And don't expect to be amazing at this the first time you do it. You can always take it apart and do it again. Don't ask too much of yourself. Right, so there we've got the tail part of our bouquet. And don't forget you can manipulate them to the positions that you want them in. So we're going to leave that for now, and we're going to start with the top part. What we're going to do is just bend that down, and that is your handle part basically. So I'll just put that into position there. We're going to tape the top part to this here. So I'm going to put that down and start with the top part. So I'm going to get some more tape. And we've got our lily here. So put some tape around the stem of your lily. And then we're going to add some rose leaves. Now bend those up like that and add them so you can see them above the lily, and just tape that from behind. There we go. So I'm going to add some more now to this side here. So just bend it and add it to that. This is going to be the top part. Twist it round. You can see how it's taking shape now. So we're going to add another smallish stem. And you'll notice that these are coloured differently because in nature the leaves are never the same. So we're going to add a little bit smaller there to that side, and you can see we've got quite a nice shape at the top there. I'm going to add a bit more floral to this. We're going to add a nice rose peeping through at one side, and then we're going to add another rose at the other side. So we've got one at each side there. We're going to add a little bit of the gypsophilia in. These look nice just nestling amongst the flowers. Twist it around. So you can see now you've got your roses, your gypsophilia and your lily. We're going to add a little bit at this side, and I think we're going to add a little bit more of the twists with the bit of glitter on. So just put these in between. You can just see a little bit of sparkle then. Another one at this side. And I'm going to have a look at it now and see what else it needs. So there we've got the top part. Don't forget you can move them around to wherever you need them. So I think what I'm going to do is add, actually not much more I don't think, maybe some more leaves to this part here. That's a bit small, I want a bigger one, so we've got a bigger one here. Just bend that and add that to it. Yes, that's better. And you'll notice you've got quite a long stem on this part here. That's going to add to the tail part. Twist that around. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is keep this one straight. Just twist this down now to add a bit of strength. So you can see you've got quite a long stem on that. I'm going to get some more tape. And now I'm going to introduce the tail part and this together. So we take the tail part with the bit bent on the base there, and we're going to add this onto there. You might need to bend this a little bit as we've got there. We're going to add it together, and then we're going to start to tape these two together. You need to add quite a bit of tape at this point. I will steady this in a second to show you how it's going along. So at the back here, you can see this, we're just taping them both together, and I'm going to tape all the way down here, and then I'm going to test it in the vase to see what it looks like. So just probably not getting it on screen at the moment, but I'm just going to twist, and then we're going to add it into the vase to see what it looks like. Yep, I'm quite happy with that. So I think the length of it is okay. I'm just going to twist it a little bit more, and you can have a look at yours and see if you think you need to add anything else, and if you do, now's the time to do it. Twisted that nice and tightly, so I'm going to bend at the back now so that this is going to sit in the vase in the angle I want it to. So I'm going to position that in there, and then you can just move them around until you're quite happy with the arrangement that you've got. So I can't obviously see that as it is now, but I'm hoping that on camera you can actually see the finished wired bouquet. So good luck, and watch out in future for some more demonstrations with the different flowers.